Hey there, Rachel Helps here. I'm back with another coffee talk video. Well, I guess not really a coffee talk, it's more like a water talk video because it is super hot. I'm hiding up under these bushes here to stay out of the sun, but I'm not complaining. So yes, I want to talk to you about auto école, French driving school. Because today I just had my first driving lesson. Not too long ago I passed my code. Well, basically in France, if you want to get your driver's license, you have to go through driving school. Well, you don't have to go directly through driving school. You can do candidature libre, but if you do candidature libre, you're on a waiting list. That's like a 6 months waiting list, and basically you have to do everything on your own. So I chose to go through a driving school. However, I already had my driver's license in the state, but being 16 years in France, my driver's license expired, and by me being now a resident in France, I am obligated to have a French driver's license. So not too long ago I passed my code, which was a 40 question test, and you can only get up to 5 answers wrong to pass the test, and I passed. I was really stressed out because I know a lot of people who are French that they failed a couple times their tests. Even the day that I took my test, there was a girl who was on her third try. So can you imagine, like, someone who's actually, okay, this is your language and you can't, it takes you 3 times to pass this test. So I was kind of like freaking out, but in reality, the code in France, you know, the French driving rules, whatever you want to call it. Oh girl, don't you be drinking out of my water. It's my cat, she drinking my water. Girl, go get your own. So yeah, so in France, I had no idea what I was talking about because my cat interrupted me. So anyway, we're just gonna get to the nitty-gritty. So basically, today was my first, I passed the code, and today was my first driving lesson. However, I already had my driver's license in the United States, so I know how to drive, but it's been like a while since I haven't been behind a car. Things changed. There's a lot of electronic stuff now in the cars, so I decided to take 5 hours of driving lessons. So today went pretty good. However, you know, in France they drive manuals, in the States is more so automatics. I did learn on a manual. My first car in the States was a Ford EXP, and that was a manual. I love that car. I was pimping, like, big time in that car. And then I got what was it? A Chevy Cavalier, and that was an automatic. I wasn't pimping in that car. And then I got a Ford Pro. I went back to pimping in that car. And then I got a Neon, and I got into an accident, no more Neon. And then I went to France. I actually moved to France. Living in Paris, you don't need a car. 11 years later, you know, so now here in Nantes, I realized that you do need a car. So yeah, so being behind the wheel today was kind of refreshing because, like, there was a lot of things that came back. So that saying, like, once you learn how to drive a bike, you know, you just don't lose it, it just comes back to you. So a lot of things came back. However, my teacher, he didn't like the way I was, like, pushing down on the, you know, you have 3 pedals, and I kept pushing at the same time. When I wanted to stop, I pushed on the left and the brake pedal at the same time. And that's just how I learned in the States, and that's how I drove for years in the States. And actually, you're supposed to, like, there's different ways of doing it. It's different here in France. So he kind of was getting a little bit, like, mad at me, and then at the same time he wanted to practice his English with me. I get that all the time. And so yeah, he was like, if you want to speak in English, we can speak in English. And I'm like, I understand you. Like, okay, who's teaching who here? If I start speaking to you in English, I might be teaching you a class, but I'm paying you to teach me, you know, to drive, you know, to go over this. So let's speak in French, you know, I get it. So anyway, that's another story. But yeah, so I just want to go over the cost. Like, you know, if you're considering, if you're moving to France or you're already in France, and you know, a lot of people say it's expensive. For me to go over the code, it's called Formation Permis B, which include the examen, 1 year of studying. So basically 1 year of studying is they give you, let me put down my drink. Girl, no, don't get in my drink. They give you this, which is, you know, everything in French to learn about the code. And then you basically get one of these, which is basically you have to go like 1 hour a day in the driving school and take the examen, like basically to quiz you over to get you ready for the examen. And that cost me, how much did I pay? I paid 275 euros. Okay. However, when I first started, I was really motivated, and one thing about going to driving school is boring. It's boring, it's tedious. You have to go an hour a day to the school. There was times where I went to the code and I fell asleep. That's how boring it was. I had to, like, you know, dose up on coffee or stand so I wouldn't like fall asleep. So that's why I could understand why a lot of French people, they just didn't get it, because after a while, you know, you really do need to study and it's not interesting. So I had to pass by the 22nd of June my code, but I wasn't ready because, you know, I was just farting around. Procrastination. Procrastination is one of my biggest problems that I'm dealing with, and I just procrastinated like a whole year. I found like other things to do that was more important. But when now that I have Luna, my dog, that's my huge motivation to get my driver's license so I can get a car. So yeah, so it costs me 100 euros extra to extend 6 months to take the test. Also too, when I decided to, like, okay, really buckle down and study, I took the you can do the test on the web, which is called like an easy web, the code by internet. And the code by internet, I paid 36 euros. And even to go farther, now that we have smartphones, Androids, iPhones and everything, I added also the app. They have now all French driving schools, they have an application where you can put it on your phone, which is the same thing as going to the school. And so I added that. So that was like an extra 26 euros. So that's just for the code. So today I started my first driving lesson, and I signed up for 5 hours of driving lessons, which is called a forfeit code of 6 months. So meaning I need to pass within the 6 months my driver's license, or I'll pay more. I'll pay more, I don't know what it is. So I signed up for 5 hours because seeing how I already have experience in driving, and plus I already had expired driver's license that I gave to the school, they'd accepted that I do 5 hours, because in reality you're supposed to do 20 hours of driving lessons. So for 5 hours it cost me 185 euros for the 5 hours. And then when I go to take the driving lesson test, which it will basically, I'll have my teacher, my instructor will be in the back seat, and I'll have someone at the prefecture or whoever, I have no idea, because, you know, even going to the auto code, they don't explain things well to you. You just kind of like, you go there and they just go there, go here, go do whatever. So yeah, there's someone supposed to be there who's going to note me and say, okay, you get to have your driver's license, or no, you don't get to have your driver's license. So yeah, I was pretty hyped up. The only thing that I experienced, like, I found it was really weird. Like, I'm a bike person, I bike everywhere, so when you're on a bike you don't really realize there's like lanes for bikes. But in the car, when I was driving in the car, I realized, like, wow, the streets are really small. Like, all of my years here in France, like, I didn't really notice like how small they were until I got behind the wheel of a car. And So yeah, just maneuvering on small streets, that was a heartache. And yeah, so like going into first gear, second, third, fourth, and fifth, no problem. Going into reverse, ooh, trying to find a reverse is difficult, so I have to work on that. But yeah, so I'll have the same teacher. I hope he doesn't bug me like every time I go to take my driver's test, like, let's speak English, like, okay, then give me back my, how much did I pay? 37 euros if you want to speak English. So yeah, so I just want to give you guys an update where I'm at. So hopefully I get my driver's license before the end of this month. I'm going back teaching. Yeah, there's so many things. I was in this past weekend, I was at L'Aiguillon-sur-Mer. You probably noticed some of the photos that I put up on my Facebook with my dog Luna running around and everything. So yeah, so that's all I want to talk about. Just blah blah blah. Me going to French driving school. Pretty boring. Yeah, I know. But hopefully once I get my driver's license, I'm gonna get me a pimped out like van, so I can just like stock my bikes, go like venture out in Europe, just like, you know, travel across, backpacking, you know, camping, just me and my dog. And then I can get a second dog, because that's what I really want a car for, because I want to have 2 dogs. I think when you have a dog, they should have a friend. Yeah, so they can have someone to play with, because like my dog runs way too faster than me. There's no way I can outrun Luna. She's like she's super Luna. Okay, so I'm just blabbing. I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a nice week, and until the next time, till the next coffee talk blah 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 video. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.